Hey yogis, I keep getting requests for tutorials. I aim to fulfill them. This one comes from Valentina Konku, who asked me to show her how to do forearm stand, one of the tougher inversions in yoga. What I'd actually like to do is a progression that will make the most sense on your journey toward a nice Pincha Mayurasana. First thing you'd like to do, forward folding. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time right here, but I just want to show you that the deeper you can get into your forward folds, the more accessible a lot of the inversions are. As I've progressed as a yogi, I've had more and more respect for the simple forward fold. If you hit the ground with no problem, it's time to start coming up to a block. Try to hit the ground on a surface. It'll just make it easier, okay? Another absolutely essential opening is through the shoulders, because forearm stand requires a lot of strength, but it also requires a lot of openness through the arms. So one of the best ways to do that is puppy pose on a hatasana. You keep your hips above your knee line, work your arms out. Don't let them go much wider than shoulder width apart, because then you won't get the opening you need. Then let your heart melt toward the ground. Just make your head comfortable, whatever that means. When I do this at home, I time it for anywhere between 2 minutes and 5 minutes. I'm just going to show it now, but it's worth spending some time in because you can really let your heart melt and you can feel it opening as you go. Once you're open enough, we got to test our strength. So one of the great poses to work on as you test your strength or as you build your strength is a dolphin plank. So you have your elbows bent, elbows on the ground, fingertips on the ground, spread very wide. You get your body really flat, so it doesn't work if your hips are up here. It also doesn't work if your hips are down here. It's no good for the low back. So hug the belly in, point your tail to your heels, hug the sides of the waist in, and then extend from crown to heels. I would time myself for about a minute. What you're doing is you're getting stronger everywhere, from the arms, the triceps as you push the ground away, to the shoulders, to the back, to the core, and then best of all, you're integrating all of the muscles so that they can properly function as a single unit. Okay. Once you feel relatively comfortable in dolphin planks, of course, give yourself rest in between. So the next shape will be dolphin. In dolphin, spread your fingers wide, have your elbows shoulder width apart. Tuck your toes underneath, lift your hips up high, and it's just like a downward facing dog, except your elbows are on the ground. So what you want to do is you want to push down through your elbows enough so that your head gains clearance. You do not want your head on the ground. If your head is on the ground, that's an indication that you need to push more into your elbows to lift up and out of your shoulders, and then to press firmly in through your fingertips. Here again, I'd make sure I can stay for about a minute. I'll just take a few breaths here. I get some honest rest in between, take a few breaths, and then we're ready to start wall work. We'll do forearm stand on the wall 2 ways. Elbows come down, feet are up against the wall, spread your fingers wide. Lift your hips up like you would. Look, my heels are on the wall already. And it may be that this is a lot of work, but if I feel like I can, I'm just going to start to walk my feet up the wall. I don't want to walk them all that high up, but I do want to be able to straighten my legs. I have my shoulders stacked right about above my elbows, and I'm pressing my fingers into the earth. Now for some bodies who are a little bit tighter, what's going to happen is that naturally your hands are going to work toward one another. One nice way to do this is to hook the thumbs. If, however, it is possible for you, it's worth it to walk the hands about shoulder width apart. But for now, let your hands land wherever it is natural. If you want to test your strength, you can lift one leg off the wall. I think it's helpful to either look right down at the ground or to look toward my thumbs. I'm going to energize that top leg. It doesn't need to go anywhere yet. I'm just testing my strength. So if I can stay here for about a minute, then I know I'm probably ready to turn it around. So now we're ready to work at the wall, facing it. The block is here as an indicator to keep your hands about shoulder width apart. So I'm going to show what you might do with the block, but a lot of people find it kind of constricting actually. You would take your thumbs down in front of the block, you take the forefinger to the outside. That way when you take your elbows down, your hands aren't going to be able to jam together. But I'm kind of the school that, look, if your hands do this naturally, let it happen for a while. You know that ultimately the intention is to walk them a little bit wider, and you can trust yourself to do that when the time comes. So you give yourself a good distance away from the wall. I have at least about 6 inches here. If I were too close, I wouldn't be able to do this. So I'm going to tuck my toes, lift on up, make sure I'm pressing down actively through my hands and through my elbows so that my head is lifted. Again, your head is not going to touch the ground, or at least it shouldn't. I think it's helpful to gaze toward the thumbs or like to the molding at the base of the wall. Walk in a little bit closer. Already this is going to be a test of your shoulder strength, your back strength, and your core strength. If things are going well, then lift one leg up high. Okay. And if you trust it, then you hop. Maybe you catch the wall. Maybe you don't. Maybe you land with a giant thud, and that's perfectly fine. But know that after 100 times of doing it, you're going to get up to the wall. So once you get up to the wall, allow for that little back bend shape. Yes, it is a cheat. But it's all right to cheat when you get started, because you're just learning to get your hips above your head and forearm stand to support yourself in this way. If it's possible, you keep the gaze a little bit forward, energize through the legs and through the feet, and keep pressing the elbows down a lot. Come down. Make sure that if you lifted with one leg, you're lifting with the other. It's not worth it to get a dominant side. But for the purposes of speeding up this video, I'm going to show you one more way, this time without the wall, and I'll do my bad leg. Okay. So this is if you've been doing it at the wall for some time and you feel like you're ready to start in the middle of the room. What I notice happens is that we take a giant leap up, we back bend a little bit, we lose our core control, and then we flop over, and the fall out of forearm stand can be pretty tricky. So I'm going to show you how to do it without falling forward or off to the side. Set up as you would, elbows underneath the shoulders, spread the fingers wide, tuck the toes underneath. Walk in a little bit, so already your hips are lifting close to your shoulders. You're going to have to press even more firmly through the ground. Look slightly forward and then lift one leg high. Okay? If you have some good flexibility, that top leg is already going to be upside down, basically, in your inversion. So I'm going to try to hug my belly and keep some core control, and I'm going to take these tiny little hops. Tiny little hops. I don't even have the intention of going all the way upside down. I just have the intention of drawing this right foot, magnetizing it toward my elbows. So I'm going to stay in that kind of split position on purpose so that the weight of my bottom leg is going to pull me back down this way and not into an unsafe dismount. It has the simultaneous function of engaging me at the hip flexors and in the front body so that I can keep sort of contracted. I'm going to show it one last time. Walking in, one leg high, and eventually it's a little float. Both legs come together, push the ground away, straighten as much as you can, heels high, tail high, gaze is natural, neck is soft. 3, 2, 1. Honest rest. Thanks again for the tutorial requests. Keep them coming. Let me know what it is you're looking for, and I look forward to hearing from you in the comments section. Please do share and subscribe if this was helpful to you. Thanks, yogis. Namaste.